Yay Media Group.
And I remember sitting down with the writer-director Tamara Jenkins, who's brilliant. And I said to her very innocently and meaning well, I said, this will probably go straight to video, huh? Because I thought that was like the best.
That was the goal.
I remember her she was like, what? No, it's going to come out in movie theaters. And I was like, okay, whatever you really.
Good luck.
Good luck with that.
Hey dude, I think the 90s are calling.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hey Dude, the 90s Called. I'm David Lasher, and I'm here with my partner in nostalgia, the one and only Christine Taylor.
Hi, nostalgia partner. Hi.
I'm trying to sound like a DJ a little more.
I
this
know.
This microphone is so good. Like, hey,
yes.
Welcome back.
It's funny. We did a fun little interview on a radio show that and I was feeling very like we're on the in with the DJ world. Like I feel like we were flipping and switching. It was
the Kid Craddock morning show. Yeah, that was so fun. Those people are great.
They're so good. They're such a good dynamic group, aren't they? Like the whole and it's fun too because I mean I'm old enough. I said this that back in the day when we would do radio interviews, you would get like patched in on the phone and call in, or you'd go to the live, like if you lived in the city. But it was so fun to see them all on Zoom.
Yeah, they've got a great chemistry. It was almost reminding me. Do you remember the Z Morning Zoo in New York on Z100?
Yes.
It was like they were all different characters. And they're in our same family, the Yay Media Group, the Yay Network.
Exactly.
Produces that show.
Exactly. They were kind enough to have us on. And in a hilarious turn of events, we were all waiting for you, David. And
oh my God, I was
you popped on with no video. And so I said, I know exactly what's happening with his computer.
You did. Thank God.
Because our computers, to do regular Zooms, our computers are plugged into these really cool cameras right now. So unless you switch the setting, but you had to call Riley, who is so wonderful and helps us do all of these podcasts. Riley, our producer, and had to call Riley at 7 a.m.
Yeah. After 10 minutes of my trying myself, that male pride where like, I don't have to call anyone. I'm going to figure this out while 6 hosts are sitting there on the air waiting for me.
Because we could hear you and it was just a black screen. So we all had fun teasing you about that, but it was fun. That was a fun little interview, but speaking of interviews, we've got a really...
let me just say, I think these episodes are just... every week I'm like, oh, that was my favorite one. And this has to be my favorite one. Like, I'm so happy with this season, but I just have to say.
It's been, well, first of all, we have the world's greatest crew and team.
Absolutely.
Working the magic behind the scenes, because the truth of the matter is, listeners, that David and I cannot do this without other people because it's so complicated. It's like
the Yay
there's
Media
a lot
team,
of that's why it looks good. That's why it sounds good. It's just because we have an incredible team. So thank you to our incredible team. But it has been so much fun, and it's just like we're doing some 2 in a day, sometimes 3 in a day. Like it just depends on our guest schedules, but it's been so much fun to talk to everyone we've had on so far. And we've got a lineup. We've got a lot of people.
We're getting dream guests. And I would honestly, whoever we're going to is so excited to come on, and they're just so open and honest. And we end up going 90 minutes instead of 60 minutes. It's like the time just flies. So anyway, any of our listeners want to just comment on our Instagram page or our TikTok or YouTube and throw out some guest ideas, because we're really getting good people.
Yes. We are really always open to hearing who you want, and we will definitely reach out. And and in the meantime, oh my gosh, today is David Krumholtz, who you guys know from so many 90s movies, and is someone we talked about on our first episode back with Jason Biggs and Jenny Molin. And so we're going to hear David's side of the story.
I mean, he could be the most working actor I think I've ever met.
Yes, for sure. Nonstop.
His filmography is unreal. So yeah, let's talk to David Krumholtz.
Hey, how's it going, Dave? Good to see you.
You too, buddy.
I am in Colonial Williamsburg in a hotel room.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so hot here.
Okay, yeah. It's absurd, right?
Yeah, we shouldn't have come here because you got to walk around and look at stuff, and there's no air conditioning in a lot of the structures, you know.
Yeah.
There's a mistake. My children are in a pool where they will remain for quite some time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. But it gets thick there.
It's horrifying. And
David, are you doing a play there?
No, I'm with my family. We came to Colonial Williamsburg to meet living history, people who do that.
Right.
Tell you about stuff. And they're upset because they have to wear those outfits and they're not into it. Like everyone's miserable.
Oh, it's a grumpy history.
It's grumpy history. Yeah.
Grumpy history seems like there's something to mine from grumpy history.
I guess
maybe.
So.
Except if you weren't so hot, it could be funny, but it's just not that funny.
Yeah, it's really not.
You have been working nonstop.
Listen,
since the 90s. If we just tie it all together for the whole reason you're here.
Mind-boggling. Yeah, to look through your work history is just overwhelming. It's incredible.
Oh, come on now. Listen,
no,
I can take compliments. Look, I'm taking them right now. No, I'm lucky, and I also am a workaholic, so I don't like this idea of like downtime. It's not fun.
That whole thing, it's overrated.
Yeah. I do the thing that, most, I guess, actors do, which is, I'm never going to work again after the end of every job. So I become desperate. Like, God love my reps, but like within a week, I'm on the phone being like, I haven't worked in forever. And they're like,
it's been 8 days, David.
Yeah.
It's been...
and I keep myself busy. I do short little films. I do whatever, really. I work for cheap, basically. I work a lot because I'm extremely cheap.
But David, we had Jason Biggs and Jenny Molin on, who we all appear together in. Speaking of a little indie movie that none of us were there for the paycheck. We were, there for the fun.
74th Street, right?
Yes, which I heard there's a new title brewing for that. Wow. So, okay. But we all got to spend a little time last summer, like in weird basements and hanging out because this was one of those no dressing room movies.
I believe
just show up
in the basement of a synagogue.
Yes. Yeah. There was a mouse sighting in one of those days.
Not surprising.
Basement. But we had Jason and Jenny on together, and Jason was telling us a little bit about his story of how he got into show business and the beginnings. And, there's a bit of an overlap with a play you two did.
Right. So,
and did you guys know each other before, or that's when you?
I had seen him on Drexel's class, which was a sitcom with Dabney Coleman, where he played Dabney Coleman's students. So I knew his work, and I was quite intimidated to meet him at the age of 13. The first job I ever did, period, like nothing prior, happened to be a Broadway play where Jason and I played brothers. However, we were brothers in different time periods. So I never got to work with Jason really, like, exchange dialogue with Jason. But we shared a dressing room.
Right.
And our moms were there, and our birthdays are 2 days apart. And so we celebrated our 14th birthdays together. And it was an amazing experience. And, Jason kind of took me under his wing, and because he was a professional, he had done that TV series, and he kind of showed me the ropes a little bit. I was completely out of control. I had never worked before. I was a really irresponsibly, unprofessionally behaved child, and I was so egomaniacal. Like I remember walking around and being like, "I'm going to get nominated for a Tony Award." Probably.
Yes, Jason told us that you were saying you're going to win a Tony. And you had a great confidence
in the best, but in the best way possible, because he was like, I had been working for like 8 years, and this little guy comes in.
Yeah,
and he's brilliant in his first job, and then he hasn't stopped working since.
I got the part on an open call, and I wasn't wanting to be an actor at all. I literally was told to go to this open call by a teacher of mine named Lon Blaze. He said, "You should go. You look like Judd Hirsch, who they're casting the son,
right?
Judd's son." And I thought, well, I kind of do. I knew who he was, and I thought, I kind of do look like him. And Billy Eichner, do you know Billy, the great actor? So
yes.
Billy and I went to junior high school together, and we went to camp together.
Okay.
And so Billy was a friend of mine, and Billy had an agent and was going. And I thought, well, let's just go together. I'll just tag along type thing. And before you know it, I was on Broadway, 8 shows a week. And my parents were like, my whole family was just like, what is happening? I was an actor. I had never really wanted to be an actor. I did not want to be, I didn't know what I wanted to be. And so I annoyed the hell out of Jason. I admit that. I really did. I must have really gotten under his skin. I remember I had a remote control rat, and I used to like,
what?
Oh, I bet Judd Hirsch loved that.
Yeah, no one was thrilled. So much so that like about, I would say 8 months after I finished the run in that show, I like went on to do like 2 movies in that span and a TV pilot. And I thought that was normal, by the way. I thought,
oh dear Lord.
Oh yeah, you just work constantly.
Jason talked about that too. He's like, this little cocky kid then goes off and gets a movie with Michael J. Fox and a TV show.
Yeah. And boy, Jason hates me, and
said it all came from but it came from so much love now, because he says he could laugh about it now, but at the time, my God, the jealousy, jealousy.
There was definitely like competition between us, and
we all had those though. We
were
had
terrible.
Them. Yes.
Yeah, those people that went up for the exact same roles over the years.
Yeah. I remember it was like always Seth Green, Jason Biggs. Who else? It was all the Jewy looking short guys basically were like in the room, always.
There were like 5.
And and Breckin Meyer and I used to like walk in and just have this feeling of the animal has arrived, the beast. I was so, oh God, I always make myself sick. But to think about, but about 8 months later, I went to see the play in LA. They had gone from Broadway to LA to do like a run in LA. And it was all the original cast, with the exception of maybe a couple people and me. I was not in the LA production, but I went and saw it. And I went for one very pertinent mission, which was to go backstage after the show and apologize profusely to everyone, which I did.
Oh no.
I mean, I literally knocked on every one of their dressing room doors. They were all happy to see me, and the first thing out of my mouth was, "Hey, I've come to realize that I was out of control."
You're making amends.
I remember apologizing. I played Tony Shalhoub was in the play, and I played the young version of Tony Shalhoub.
Okay,
and I remember like apologizing to him profusely, and him being like, "You don't know, it's okay. We get it. We got it. We understood. You were off the street." But I was just so mortified just a few months later. So, I picked up on it quickly, professionalism and kindness and humility. But at the very beginning, it was nasty. I was, which is strange because in Life with Mikey, my first movie, which was my second job, I play a nasty, egomaniacal piece of crap little child actor. And And it's not far. And it's almost like I had to play that character to exercise that demon in a way and like realize, oh, I'm kind of like this guy. So I took it down several notches.
Yeah,
and then I just got grateful really quick. So
then you got, see, that's so nice to I think there is something about, you just said, it's like there's, you had it in the version of getting to play yourself, but almost like like looking in a mirror in a way of like, oh, that I feel like the universe sometimes, not for people who aren't actors, but even just in life, you get put in a situation with a person who drives you crazy. And it's like, it is almost like, why is this person getting to me? And I had a therapist once say to me, like, there's usually something about that person. Like if you kind of look at yourself, there might be, and it's something to reconcile. It's so interesting.
I've had those experiences.
So
I literally thought, oh, you know what? We're a lot alike. Me and that guy, I don't get along because we're a lot alike.
Yeah.
He or she is. My mother-in-law and I are like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. My mother-in-law are a lot alike. And
they reflect back at you some flaws that you don't like about yourself.
Yeah, and she thinks I'm a bum, and I think she is her. I don't like the way her hair looks, and
it's hard to get over that.
Yeah,
it seems like though you've had these mentors. I mean, you go Michael J. Fox and Tim Allen, and I the first time that I remember seeing your work was Slums of Beverly Hills.
Oh yes.
And Alan Arkin, Natasha, Christine, do you remember that movie?
Of course. Of course.
I love
when
that.
I say I don't think it's a stretch to say you're a natural, because at this young age, you somehow by yourself get this audition for a very serious Broadway play and you go and book your first thing. And when I saw you in Slums of Beverly Hills, you reminded me of a teenager that was like an older Jewish man with like this confidence, and it was a precociousness or something.
Well, I appreciate you saying man. I remind myself of an older Jewish woman quite often. Very different thing. But
Fanny Krumholtz.
That's right. No, I love that movie. It was crazy when I worked on Life with Mikey. We went back and did like a couple days of reshoots after we had finished it. And this is interesting that I didn't know at the time, no one did, but it was revealed later in his autobiography that was around the time that Michael J. Fox was diagnosed Parkinson's disease. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I just know that on my last day of shooting, he pulled me aside. I'll never forget this. And he literally took me into like a side corner and he just said, I want to tell you something. You're great. Just be nice. Just be super duper nice. If you're just nice, you're going to work all the time. And recently I ran into him at a Knicks game. And I reminded him of that and how much that meant to me. And I told him that I've tried to pay that forward, not only in being nice, but also like telling other young actors that I work with that I believe in, hey, just be nice. You'll work all the time. Just be nice. Just be extra nice. Be nice, even if you lose, even if it hurts you to be nice. Just be nice regardless. And because that's all that's worked for me. If I work at all, it's because I try to be super duper friendly and nice. And by the way, it costs you nothing to be nice. It costs you a lot more to not be.
It's so simple, but it's amazing how hard that is to grasp for some people.
Yeah,
it's
kindness.
Incredible.
Kindness.
Actors are wonderful people, or the worst people I've ever met in my life. I mean, some of them are incredible, the most empathic, which is what you want, right? They emulate humanity, so they ought to be empaths. But some actors, We've
all been there. We've all been there. And yes.
So I've always just tried to be nice. And I learned that from him. I mean, that was the moment really where, it dawned on me like, because at the time, in 1993 or whatever that was, Michael J. Fox was kind of the biggest star in the world, if not one of them.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So for him
yes.
to take time out of his day and say that to me, that really, it just meant a tremendous amount. Because I knew he was telling me the truth. He didn't have to lie,
Yes. Yes.
And he cared. So that was a really big sort of watershed moment. And the Santa Claus came, and then Slums Beverly Hills, which is I think 1997. I think we made that. You know what's funny about that movie? I have crazy stories from that movie. It was a very difficult shoot, and it was riotously funny. And it was the first time I realized I love being around chaos. And any chaotic set is like my favorite place to be. A, because I like being problem solver, and B, because I like watching people lose their crap. And Alan Arkin was really good at losing his crap a lot, and the best way. He was so funny. You ever around someone that makes you laugh gutturally by accident, like haphazardly? They're just a really funny person, born funny. They don't. They may be funny when they're trying to be funny, but it's when they're not trying to be funny. And then you're around someone who, especially when they're super duper angry, and you have to walk away because you're, busting a gut. That was me and Alan Arkin. And he knew I was laughing. He had to a couple.
What are you laughing at?
That was so chaotic. Well, sorry, you're laughing. It's not funny.
Thank you.
He would be so, oh God. And I'd say, don't look at me. I'm sorry. You're crazy. But,
as
anyway,
somebody who has been such a fan of his, and I love him, and he is, God rest his soul. I mean, he's been so good in everything he's been in. He worked with Ben's parents in the early years, and even imagining him losing it, I can't.
It was
I genuinely can't.
There was one day where he yelled this exact thing, and I'm going to cut out the curse word, but he yelled, "Will everybody please calm down? This mass hysteria is driving everyone crazy."
Mass hysteria.
This mass hysteria is driving everyone crazy. And it was that. That was enough to set me off for a while. You just didn't expect that to come out of his mouth. But anyway, that movie, I thought, it was like my first indie, and I thought, oh, this movie will never see the light of day, because we really had a hard time shooting it. And I remember sitting down with the writer-director Tamara Jenkins, who's brilliant. And I said to her very innocently, and meaning well, I said, this will probably go straight to video, huh? Because I thought that was like the best.
That was the goal.
Remember, she went straight to video was like a thing, and it was like, okay,
of course,
it'll at least go straight to video, which is good, and it'll be in Blockbuster or whatever. And I remember she was like, "What? No, it's gonna come out in movie theaters." And I was like, "Okay, whatever you really."
Good luck.
Good luck with that. And then it's honestly, I think that movie's better than Little Miss Sunshine. I don't think Little Miss Sunshine exists without Slums of Beverly Hills. And I think Ellen is incredible in that movie. Marissa Tomei, Natasha, Kevin Corrigan, just really strong performance. It's such a sweet movie. And
it's so sweet. Yes.
It's really watchable. You can watch that movie over and over again. It doesn't sort of get old. You discover things each time. It's a lot of fun. I love that movie. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, no, you have some scene stealing moments in it. And you kind of ham it up, but it's still contained enough to be on film. Rather than theater. I love what you do in that movie so much.
Did you ever relocate to LA?
Yeah. So I really didn't want to leave LA. Leave New York City. But in the 90s, New York City dried up. There wasn't a lot of production going on. There wasn't a lot of casting happening. Nowadays, it's very different. New York City's back. New Jersey's a place where people film movies, and they really do a lot of casting. And actually, now that everyone's self-taping, kind of doesn't matter where you are. But back then, LA was the only place to get work. And so I had to move. And so when I was 22, I think I moved to LA. And I lived in Marina Del Rey. because I'm swarthy. And and then, yeah, I made friends. I mean, I made a very core group of friends that, looking back, were like my college friends, right? The kinds of friends you'll never not have, like, you know, the blood brothers, if you will.
Yeah.
And I made a core group, and they were all up and coming and trying their best to write things and act in things and do things. And I was helped by Judd Apatow a lot, because I did a pilot for Judd. He did 2 pilots in the same year. He did a pilot called Sick in the Head, and then he did Freaks and Geeks. Obviously, Sick in the Head didn't get picked up. I was the lead of Sick in the Head. Freaks and Geeks got picked up, and I was still living in LA, where I just kind of moved there, and Judd felt bad for me because he was like, you have no friends and you're unemployed waiting for a job in LA. And he said, come to the set of Freaks and Geeks.
To make friends.
To make friends. And I did. And that became my group of friends. And, you know, which is, you know, super funny, talented people. But yeah, and then I lived in LA for 15 years, which is a little longer than I wanted to originally. And I didn't, you know, I had my TV show Numbers there, was set there, and I lived there. And, you know, LA is an interesting place, because whereas every other city is filled with all kinds of billboards, from plumbers to lawyers to whatever, LA, pretty much every billboard, for those that don't know, is a production of some sort. And when you're not working in LA, it's like a constant reminder of like, oh, I wasn't put up for that. Not sure what happened there. Did audition for that, didn't get it. And if you're not, being unemployed in LA is like the worst feeling. It drives you crazy.
Yeah.
But being employed, which I was for 6 years, 10 months out of the year, the sun shines brighter, and LA, and I fell in love with LA after some awkwardness, a good few years of awkwardness. I fell in love with LA and, you know, enjoyed it. But then I stayed a little too long afterwards. I made a big mistake after my show ended, which was I bought a house in the Hollywood Hills with an elevator in it down the street from Kanye West.
Of course you did. Oh, God. Why wouldn't you?
Why not? Especially right when the show ends, you know, because that, you know,
right when it
not
ends,
making large chunks of money, I might as well buy a ridiculous.
Might as well just spend the money I just made.
Yeah, embarrassing home.
We've had Rob Morrow and Ali Ballard on, who both said such great things about you and their experience on Numbers. Just because you had spoken about it, you're saying that was an amazing experience.
Oh man. You know what was crazy about that one is you go from job to job. I'm like a journeyman actor, feather in the wing. I'm accustomed to that now. And I used to dread it in a way, and now I love it. But having a home, you know, having 6 years of a home. And when you go from job to job, you never know what the chemistry is going to be like, either between you and the cast or you and the crew. And I've done jobs, long-term jobs, where I wanted so badly to get along perfectly with everyone. And nothing bad has happened, but there's just no chemistry. There's no rapport as people. And what was interesting about Numbers is literally every single person, from like the office PA to the prop guys, to the makeup hair, to camera, to the producers, the writers, we all just were like super on the same wavelength, which is maybe why the show's so enjoyable to watch, because we really did love seeing each other, and we were genuinely crushed when the show got canceled after 6 years. It was an abundance of tears, because I had made family, you know, familial relationships with those people. I mean, Rob played my brother. I mean, that's saying everything. And then Ali Me is just one of the nicest, most wonderful people. And so, yeah, it was hard when it ended. I can tell you that. I really love that experience. And to this day, I have dreams where I'm still doing it, where I'm still on the set of Numbers, and I'm still doing it as a 47-year-old man, bald and everything, or balding. I'm still doing Numbers. And it's because it was just this it's weird when you're in your 20s, you assume everything is the time of your life. And then about 20 years later, you realize, oh no, and I haven't, that was the time of my life. I wish I had appreciated it a little more at the time and maybe not have bought a house with an elevator.
It really feels like it made such an imprint on your heart in that way. And that's the thing that I don't think there's, like you said, you obviously all loved each other. And in the moment you had so much fun, but like you said, can you ever truly appreciate something of that until you have a little hindsight? I don't know.
It went by
It
went by so fast, and then we got replaced with a show that lasted like 18 seasons.
Which one?
And Blue Bloods.
Oh God.
Yes.
Time slot and went on for friggin' I don't know how long that show's been on, or was on or whatever. And what's interesting about that is like, I'm glad in a way. I could have used it would have been nice to do like a couple more seasons of Numbers. But like, I don't know if I would be able to last, and how like after a while, like it becomes a job, and not a special thing. So while it went by really fast, I kind of like that I can look at it in hindsight and as this sort of crystal, ball, this crystal clear, shiny, bright thing that had no blemishes and no, you know what I mean? Like I never got sick.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes,
and let's be honest, there is great work to be done for you and to stay on one set with one character. I mean, 6 years is a long time to begin with.
Yeah.
But another film from the 90s that I watched the other night is Sidewalks of New York.
Oh, wow. That's the 90s? Oh, yeah, I guess so. It's like 1999.
It's Ed Burns, like at the height of Ed Burns, and it's you and Rosario Dawson and
Brittany Murphy.
Brittany Murphy, and I mean you're a grown adult in that movie, just having this divorce. But what was that experience like working with Ed and shooting all around your hometown? It was just, I loved the movie so much.
Well, that was like the first or second time. Actually, that was the first time I really got to shoot on the streets of New York City, which is where I'm from. I'm from Queens. We shot on the Lower East Side, which is actually where my dad grew up. And, it's great, man, because you feel like you are the city. If you're a New Yorker, you feel like you're made of the same concrete that the streets are. And so there was something super organic about just being that character and like not having to like do anything but be a New Yorker with a big heart. He's such a sweet character. And Ed and I got along like right away. And Ed sort of saw what I was doing and just let me do it, which was a lot of fun. That was another thing that was new, was like, oh, they're trusting me to do whatever I want now. Like, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
But for me, that experience was all about Brittany, from top to bottom. She was, I went on a date with Brittany Murphy when I was 15 years old. We were both 15.
Way.
Oh my gosh.
We went and saw Tombstone, that Kurt Russell movie.
Yes.
And Val Kilmer. And we didn't like it. Her and I were like, we don't like this movie. We just left. And it was the most innocent of dates,
Right.
We didn't kiss. Like, it was nothing,
Right.
But it was clear her and I were just, I don't know. We were just from the same cloth, I guess.
She's a New Yorker as well, right? She was.
She was. I think New Jersey, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she, and then so to get to work with her and to play her boyfriend and, pine after her, my character really, kind of likes her a lot more than she likes him at the beginning. What an amazing, did you guys ever meet her?
I never got to work with her, but just in the world of, knowing people, and every interaction I ever had, she was so filled with love. She was so complimentary of my work. You know what I mean? Because I was always just a fan of everything she was in. I always thought she was so good.
No, she stole, the scene everywhere, because she was so, and that's who she was. She was so bubbly and so funny and so self-deprecating in a way, but also like really super confident in her wackiness and her weirdness, and she wasn't afraid to let her freak flag fly. And I I was totally enamored with her. And as much as an actor can be with another actor in love, without actually pursuing anything, I just was in love with her. And so that movie, sometimes I look back at our scenes from that film, just her and I, and I think that's like the best work I've ever done. And I don't think I've ever topped that. And I think it's because of her. She brought it out of me, and I miss her terribly. So,
I'm so glad to hear you say that you love the work, because like I forgot about the movie, but I did just rewatch it. And I'm like, this is up there. First of all,
I don't think I've seen it. I have to see this now.
It's a great New York
movie. Have to
Ed
see
Burns
it.
really knocked it out of the park with that one. Rosario Dawson's great. Stanley Tucci's great in it.
Yeah. I have to see it.
When you walk in, so Stanley Tucci's a married man who's having this affair with Brittany, and David's in love with Brittany, and he runs into them at a restaurant. And he's like, "What? Is this your father?" And Tucci's so offended. And then Brittany tells Stanley Tucci that David has this enormous penis, and that she had to stop having sex with him because his penis was too big. And now Stanley Tucci's ego is so bruised. He's all fucked up in the head. It's so good, and it's so reminiscent of a Woody Allen film to me. I couldn't get that.
I mean, it was Ed's tribute to Woody, actively. I mean,
it had to be.
But and I suppose I'm the Woody character, sort of archetype in it. But no, it's a hidden 90s gem. It really is.
I love finding those. I'm so excited about this. David, when we were on the set and we had all this time to kill, it was the first day that I came on. You had been on the movie. And we all were in this, that wasn't the basement, but we were in this waiting room.
Little office.
It was a little office. And it was like, I didn't know anybody. I was, you and I think had met, and we talked Knicks a little bit. And then you are the greatest storyteller. Obviously, you are on sets all the time. You have great stories. But I think it's but you told this amazing story about auditioning for Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
This Steven Spielberg story that I think our listeners would love to hear.
I will say it wasn't Saving Private Ryan. It was Band of Brothers.
Oh, it was but he was producing
series.
it.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
And
yes.
This is the story, by the way, that risks my entire career, because even telling it today, there's an inherent risk. No, it was, in the end, it's the funniest, craziest story. And really, it's about me being very naive and genuinely sweet, but not smart in a very intense moment. But it was the strangest thing. It was like it was probably like late 90s, maybe the year 2000. I'm not sure. And they were doing these auditions for this new series, Band of Brothers. And I got to read with Tom Hanks, which is really cool. Just me, Tom Hanks, and Meg Lieberman, the casting director, in a room. And I did really well. And he was in his Castaway like thing. He had like the beard and he was super skinny. And I was like, whoa, Tom Hanks. And he couldn't have been nicer. And then they were like, okay, they're calling you back. And they did something that to this day I've never seen again. And frankly, I had never heard of anyone doing this, but each scene of this show had at least 5 characters in it talking to each other, right? The soldiers. And so they decided they were going to do a mega mix and match session. So a mix and match session is you go in and you audition with one other actor and you're both auditioning at the same time with each other. This was going to be like 5 or 6 guys at a time. And so they called and they said, hey, we need you. We're going to call you back. And there's 3 characters we need you to learn. Now, you're only going to be called in for 2 of them. We need you to learn all 3, and we can't tell you which 2 you're going to be called in for.
Already the most stressful thing I've ever heard in my life.
Now, the third one, there was 2 that I nailed. And then there was one, it was a character that was like a comedian soldier, and he did impressions. I remember he did like a Walter Brennan impression. basically I couldn't do the impressions that the character did. So I was very nervous about that one and hoping that would be the one I wouldn't be called in to do. So I show up and they're like, you're going to be here for like 6 hours because how we're doing this is you're going to audition at some point with a group of guys. They're all going to be here for 6 hours. They're waiting for their second audition for the other character that they've prepared. And basically, you're all going to wait around. So I walk in and there's 40 or 50 of us. And I remember it was like D.B. Sweeney and Ricky Schroeder, Henry Thomas, the kid from E.T., not Mark Wahlberg, Donnie Wahlberg. I mean, the list goes on. And, the kids that ended up on it, too. Mm-hmm. So here I am in this strange circumstance. And by the way, I'm told Steven Spielberg is in the room. He's God. And I'm like, holy crap. Love Steven Spielberg. Love that kid. He's anyway. No, so I'm naturally a little nervous about that. So we go in. So at one point they call my group and they're like, you guys are next, so go rehearse and then you'll come in. So I'm rehearsing. I remember Donnie Wahlberg was in the group and we're rehearsing. We're like, all right, we're going to go in next. And hi, nice to meet you. And they called us in and there he is in the back of the room. Pretty cool. Tom Hanks is there too. And everything is going swimmingly. We start the scene. And I happen to be on one end of 6 guys or 5 guys, whatever it was. And halfway through the scene, Steven Spielberg walks over to the tripod, unscrews the camera, and literally just puts it right in my face. So now he's a foot away from me, filming my face. And I'm sticking with it, man. Like, don't break.
Oh, my God.
But extremely distracting thing to do.
Oh, my God.
And he starts moving down the line, getting a panning close-up of each actor. Okay, great. I finish. I'm out. Whew, that was cool. Man, Steven Spielberg, put the camera on me, man. Cool. David, hi. Can we talk to you? And no one else is being talked to, right? They're calling in the next group of actors. And at the end of it, Meg Lieberman says, can we just speak to David Krumholtz?
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
I go over and she goes, they loved you. And I go, wow, awesome. And she goes, but they think you're too nervous. And I said, well, I didn't expect him, but he took the camera, put it in my feet. That's what it was. And then, well, they commented that you're too nervous. So try to be not so nervous the next time.
Oh, my goodness.
Which is...
Oh, my God.
Worst. God love Meg Lieberman. And she had to tell me. She was instructed to tell me. Calm down, basically. Right. But now I'm like, oh, my God.
Should have given you a shot of tequila or something.
Oh, my God. Holy God.
So then about an hour and a half, 2 hours go by, and I'm just sitting in this waiting room watching actors go in and out, waiting for my next character.
And now you know that it's only one of two scenes that it can be.
Come on. So they announce, all right, the next group is this, this, and this. And David Krumholtz, you're going to be playing the character who did the impression. So now I'm like, no way. It can't be real. It can't be real. I'm like, all right, Krumholtz, you're going to calm down. You're going to learn how to say sarsaparilla as Walter Brennan. And it's going to suck, but you're going to do the best you can. And that's all.
You're going to commit, right.
But the main thing is stay calm.
Right.
Okay. So... Now I'm laughing. So we go into the room. Swear to God this happened. We go into the room, and this time, Mr. Spielberg, who, by the way, is the nicest guy, and I met him a bunch of times since, and he couldn't be sweeter, and clearly not a fan of mine, but I can be a fan of someone who's not a fan of mine. Right. So, and I am a huge fan. He is the greatest director of all time, in my humble opinion. He really is. He has the greatest range of any director, and that's the key. So anyway, Steven, hi. Complimenting any day. That's still available. Anyway, so I go in.
He's a regular listener for sure.
Hey,
for sure. Yes,
podcast
100%.
So anyway, I go in, and this time he's at the door, introducing himself to everyone, shaking their hand as they walk in the room. And he gets to me. He goes, hey, how are you? How are you? Nice to meet you. And he says, hey, we've met before. Now, man.
Whoa.
I have never met Steven Spielberg, and I knew that. And of course I knew that. Of course I knew that. So I said, no, we've never met before. Now, a smarter person, less nervous, less preoccupied with having to do friggin' impressions that I can't do and all this stuff, would have said, yeah, great to see you. You know?
Gone with it. You just go with it.
Just go with it. Jesus.
Just go with it.
And yeah, you look great. Look way better than you did last time. You did something in your hair. You know, I could have done. And I said no. And he said, yeah, no, we've met before.
Oh God.
And I said, nope. No, I would remember. Now I'm thinking, who the F is he mistaking me for?
Oh God.
And, you know, like what little Jewy,
Seth Green.
Yeah. Somewhere Seth Green is going like, man, I wish I'd been called in for Band of Brothers. And there I am screwing it up, you know? So now, and so he goes, yes, we've met before, and walks away from me.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I just got in an argument.
Oh my God. God damn it, Steven. I haven't met you.
Yeah. So we do this, and I've told this story before, but we do the scene, and I can't even, the words, there are none. It's just, I'm so nervous, and I'm so angry about what's just happened, you know? I not only screw up the scene for myself, but for all the 4 other actors in the room. Like they're looking at me like, dude, get it together. And I'm like, I'm like monosyllabic. And then about 2 or 3 years later, I saw Steven Spielberg at a Golden Globes after party. He had been nominated for Munich, and I loved Munich. I still love Munich. It's one of the best movies ever. And certainly one of my favorite of his. And we locked eyes at this party, and he approached me and we spoke. And I was so eloquent and lovely in everything I said to him. And at the end of it, he said, well, I'm going to go say hi to some other people. And I said, yeah, well, it's nice to meet you. I mean, to see you. And he looked at me like I was the dumbest human being.
Oh no, he didn't get it.
Like, I meant see you.
Yeah,
because by then he was way across the room talking like Jack Nicholson or something, and I just thought it's not meant to be.
My love affair.
Really leave Steven Spielberg alone.
You're best to admire his work from afar. I think that's
afar, from like restraining order afar. You know what I mean? Like cease and desist afar. But I did run into him about a year and a half ago at the old Academy Awards when a little movie I was in won the Best Picture, and he was there, and I complimented him greatly, and no compliments in return. But listen, it's not going to haunt me for the rest of my life. It's just
You'll keep trying.
Oh yeah, he's not. I'm not done with him. I'm not done with him.
Done. There's many more award ceremonies to
Total
come.
stalker vibes.
I'm not done with
I don't care.
That fantastic story, dude.
Oh
that
my
was a
God.
journey.
Here it is.
Oh my God.
It's really embarrassing.
So
And you know what? It's gonna get back to him that I've been telling this story on podcasts. But I just want to say, Steven, please. It's hey, dude. It's 90s. No, we're all. It's come on.
It's all in good fun.
We're all good. I forgive you. Okay, I forgive you, sir.
You hear that? You heard it here first. David Krumholtz forgives Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg for what he did to me. Yeah.
Christine, Graham Yost could have been in.
Oh, sorry. I just want to say I have a weird career in that, like my autobiography is probably going to be called Front Row Seat, because I've been firsthand I've seen things.
You've seen things.
Wonderful things, mostly funny things. Some bad stuff, nothing too bad, you know. But I'm always the seer, the watcher, I'm caught in a moment guy. And, between two very, powerful people who are, having way more notoriety than me, I'm always the third wheel in that situation.
I think that's, it's so
and I'm left with this
perfect.
pain. Yes, but it's painful. You know,
you have to carry that burden. You carry it with you.
I carry secrets. It's a whole thing.
Things happen. You're left to process it, and you know what I mean? They leave you. You're left alone with it to process.
It's really unfortunate in any way.
You have to be 6 degrees from almost anyone in this business. I mean, you're like a Kevin Bacon type. You've worked with everybody.
They're 6 degrees from me. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Exactly. 6 degrees from Krumholtz.
David, you also, because of the movie, like obviously, you know, we brought up the Santa Claus briefly, but that I was thinking of that and 10 Things I Hate About You. You're like this whole new generation. Like my kids were watching, I mean, the Santa Claus is an every year annual thing, like in the Christmas movie rotation of what the kids watch. And now my kids are 23 and almost 20, and it's still an annual. It's like they have the over the Christmas break, what night we're doing this, what night we're doing this. And the Santa Claus is so in the rotation. But I just remember when 10 Things I Hate About You, I was like I feel like on the older side, like it wasn't even a movie. I was sort of like in the ether of auditioning for any of those things.
Time you had already done the Brady. I mean, you were.
That was late 90s.
Late 90s, yeah, like 1990s. Yeah.
But that like has a whole new generation of kids. Like they showed. I remember that like one of my kids took. I think it might have been a Shakespeare class, and the teacher was cool and showed the just to and like. It's amazing the way that you span generations. That's what I'm trying to say.
The shelf life of that one is shocking in many ways.
Yeah.
But I'm really grateful for it. They just announced the Broadway musical 10 Things I Hate About You is coming. They're doing it's like a bit of a phenomenon. And when if people do recognize me from it, I get hey, you're the kid that they drew the dick on the face.
Oh my God,
that's me.
Oh my God,
dick face. But no, it's been amazing, and I don't think any of us when we made that film expected it to be like that. We're still talking about it today, and that people love it so much, and it's one of the more sort of recognizable teen films, much less, comedies of the last like 30 years. It's kind of crazy.
I know. I think we talk about that a lot on this podcast because a lot of we have so many people we've had on who are in some of those that have remained talking, like the ones that have sustained. There's a lot that didn't, but that period of time with the teen comedy, romance, those movies were so specific at a period of time when
I feel like, looking back, and again, I have too much personality. I've come to learn that through several psychiatrists and whatever. And so I'm going to be obnoxious in saying the Santa Claus, Addams Family Values, which also has quite a shelf life, especially around Halloween.
For sure.
Christina Ricci as Wednesday, the second Addams Family movie. 10 Things I Hate About You. And then, Slums of Beverly Hills. I ruled the 90s. I ruled.
There you go.
I ruled. I'm the king of the 90s. The underground king of 1990.
Underground. That's the key.
Going back to what you said about me having layers as an actor, it's so true. And no, it's actually something I've been trying to work on, because what happens is you get typecast, right? And then here's what happens is it's like you're the go-to that. You're the go-to that for about 3 years. And then before you know it, someone is writing literally in their script, we want to cast a David Krumholtz type.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they're trying to find the new you.
The new you.
And you're like, that old, we've seen him do that.
And you can't even get an audition for the David Krumholtz type.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. And so
you've aged out.
I've been so vigilant about trying to put a stop to that recently, because I'm like, no, I want to have I've come too far. I don't want to
David, you said that they let you.
I'm a human being. I can play anything. I can play anything.
On the studio, you mentioned quickly that they let you do what you want. Like there's some, So I heard Seth I think it was on a podcast talking about how, the ad libs all get hashed out in rehearsal because these shots are so involved.
Right.
And then he talked about one really long shot. And he was like, he said at the very end of this like 90-second shot, it ends on Krumholtz. And he then decides to do an ad lib.
Yes.
That he didn't run by me. And he was saying what an amazing actor you are.
There's a timeout. There's a timeout in here.
I wanted to hear what the ad lib was.
There's a timeout.
Seth is so good at punching down. I love Seth. No, come on. He's one of my best former friends. And here's what happened. Okay. They wrote some stuff that was a little racy with, me using the Jew word a lot.
Right.
This is not news to anyone. If you
no. Yes.
And I added one that I thought they were cool with. And in that particular moment, there were certain people on set who they did not expect to be there.
Oh, God.
Who they were like,
oh, shoot.
Just say what's written. And I was like, what?
What'd I do?
We talked about this. And they were like, we talked about it, but don't do it. It was that. So we had those. I didn't just spring it on them.
Say no more. I get it.
And I can't. Another amazing, unbelievable story that I can't tell, but it was awkward. There's nothing worse than being the third part of a kind of 3-part scene that's being shot as a oneer. And like Catherine O'Hara's in the scene earlier and in the first part, and Adam Scott's in it, and all these amazing actors are in it, and it ends on me. And if I mess up at all, ad lib or mess up,
back to one.
Work is squandered. They may have felt great about that take, and then Krumholtz went and screwed up. A lot of pressure. But the cool thing is that Seth and Evan sort of loved that pressure. And there was you couldn't make a mistake. You couldn't do anything wrong. It was all good unless you messed up several times. They expected people to screw up. And that's why you do 18 takes, 19 takes until you get it right, which was, I guess, what they were averaging, which is so smart because in the end, a scene that would have taken 5 hours or 4 hours to shoot only takes 2.
Exactly. But it's just a dance. It's the choreography. It's what it takes. It
looks great. You save time. Cool. The crew gets to go home early. Everybody's happy.
Right.
So, yeah.
Have you played a father yet? Have you?
It's funny you ask. I did an episode of Poker Face this last year. That's on.
Oh, I want to see that.
Played a dad in that. That was kind of the first dad thing. I'm 47. It's about time, and you'd think they'd have trusted me years ago, but you kind of understand why they didn't. And but I've just completed Supergirl, the Supergirl movie.
And congrats!
I play Supergirl's dad. And the actress that plays Supergirl is named Millie Alcock. She's terrific. Doesn't look a damn thing like me. Hey,
the transition.
Good work if you can get it. I'm thrilled.
That sounds great.
The superhero movie was so cool. Yeah, and I play her dad.
Cool.
Yeah. Plays Zor-El, brother of Jor-El. Uncle.
Oh, no way.
Uncle of Superman.
Of course, Jor-El.
Because when you think Superman and you think about his lineage and what he looks like.
But Jor-El was Brando, right?
Jor-El was Brando in the, I don't know who.
In the original,
but musculature wise, we match. I don't know if the face.
I was going to say, you basically work with Brando.
I basically work with Brando, and I have the musculature of Henry, David Corrin Sweat, and Henry Cavill, and all of them, frankly.
All of them, any of
all
them.
Of them. Chris Hemsworth.
All put together.
Chris Hemsworth. Me and Chris Hemsworth are.
I have not been able to keep track of all of the
superheroes.
I just will make people mad because I'm not really the demo of the superhero movies, but I feel like there's been a lot of Supermans. I know there's been a lot of Batmans too, but
there's been a lot of Supermans, a lot of Batmans,
and a lot of Spider-Mans.
Now there's a lot of Spider-Man.
I guess it's just generational. It's just
the
generational.
Whole thing. You can really beat a dead horse in Hollywood. But no, actually, I think the new Superman movie is going to be amazing. I really trust James Gunn, and David Corenswet, who plays Superman, is amazing. So I hope it's amazing.
It looks cool.
And yeah, it does look cool. And you know, I'm. It's too late for me to play a superhero. But you know, I haven't given up hope. And playing a superhero's father is good enough.
That is close enough. It's superhero adjacent. It's perfect. It's the perfect
David,
time.
what's Paradise Records that just got released? You want to tell us about that? It didn't
get released. It's awaiting distribution.
Oh.
But it looks like it's been released on IMDb. I know they make it seem like that, but it did premiere at Tribeca, the Tribeca Film Festival.
Oh, wonderful.
I have a small thing in it, but it's this guy Logic, who's an amazing rapper, producer, musician, and actually incredible actor and writer. He wrote, directed, plays the lead, and financed it himself. It's like he's a one-man mogul, and he made this movie called Paradise Records, and he's amazing in it. So it's cool to be part of something, you know. And yes, I will work for anything and anytime, and I like getting out of the house. So I have a very 2 days on that in Oregon. It was great.
That's so much fun.
Supporting this, you know, the people coming up behind
That's
you.
right.
It's awesome.
That's right. Sort of, yeah. They're supporting me. My mental health. It's really them more. It's about my mental health.
You're paying forward the Michael J. Fox advice.
That's right. That's the nice way of saying that. Yes.
David Krumholtz.
It's a clear that I've lost my mind. Yes, nice guy. I'm not that crazy.
Dude, it's been so great talking to you. I mean,
thanks so much for having me. And
stories are amazing.
And being so nice. I appreciate that. You know,
you are so much fun to talk to. Are you kidding? I'm not. No. I said it very like you are just you know, I made you retell me a story, but I didn't. It's also like you add nuance and details every time. I've only heard it twice.
I live through it each time I tell.
I'm sure you do. We all have one of those where it's so awful, where it's just like if I could have a redo. Oh God, I wish I could have a redo. And it was a split second because all you could have done is yes. Thank you. Nice
all
to
I have
see
to
you.
say was like, oh.
Nice to see you.
Of course, nice to see you, sir. Yes.
Oh, Lord.
I was young.
Classic.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, we'll see you soon. We'll see you in things soon.
You would think Spielberg would have thought, oh, this sweet idiot. You know, what a sweet little idiot. He doesn't, you know, but no, I think he took offense, but that's okay.
I know the fact that he kept doubling down is even funnier. He goes, no, we really have.
And that you've kept trying since then, and he's still not getting it.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop.
Oh, I'll believe that when I see it.
I'm learning how to quit Steven Spielberg.
No, it's never happening. You'll never quit him. There's too many more awards.
I'm going to get a cease and desist at some point. It's really not good.
This could be a short film in itself.
Oh God. All right, go enjoy the beautiful weather.
Okay,
with your family.
Nice seeing you.
Stay cool.
Thanks, David.
See you soon.
Thank you so much.
You're the best.
That was so cool.
He's so funny. Genuinely.
What a great storyteller. I'm so glad you remembered to ask him about that story.
Well, again, like I know he said he's talked about it on other podcasts. I had never heard it before. And I feel like it's just such a good one for any of our listeners. Because you and I talk so much about, you know, those auditions and those moments and the things and all of it. And it's just to hear one of those when you're with like your absolute idol. And to just totally tank it.
Yeah, but the whole setup, the 40 guys, all the actors know. It was almost like with the Outsiders legendary audition process, you know?
Exactly. That's what, exactly. That made me think of that. And I thought it was really fun for the come full circle moment for us to hear David's side of the Jason Biggs story, because it was exactly as Jason told it, and David owned it all.
David said, "I was a punk who said I called it. I was getting a Tony Award.
Exactly,
nothing stopping me."
Yes.
You know what? I love people that like to connect other people.
You know,
because some people are like, "No, you're my friend, and you're my friend. You can't be friends."
Totally.
I'm so the opposite. Like, I love when my friends mix and
Yes, you were like that when at 90s Con, when your Hey Dude group got to hang with your Sabrina group, and you were like, my families are uniting.
When we all had dinner.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing makes me happier than that.
Yes, yes. Well, what a great episode. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for listening. You can follow us at Hey Dude, the 90s Called. You can watch us on YouTube and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And please feel free to share these episodes with anyone you think would like to go back to the 90s. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Yay Media Group.